This kid secretly tastes a bite of caviar that falls on the ground, but he discovers that this expensive ingredient tastes fishy and smells terrible. It is nearly impossible to eat. This makes him realize that for rich people, expensive always means better. As long as there is enough hype, even ordinary food can be sold at a high price. Years later, the boy, Paul, becomes a cook. He swiftly cleans a large lobster and places several pieces of lobster meat on some strange rocks. Next, he adds his homemade sauce and a little caviar. A super expensive seafood dish is finished. When the customer wants to eat it, Paul says the dish doesn't need utensils, so the customer grabs the lobster with his hand and starts eating. The customer thinks it tastes a little fishy, but Paul declares this is the taste of the ocean. After hearing this, the customer cautiously tastes the dish again. Watching this, Paul shows a satisfied smile. To pass on his cooking skills, Paul asks his aide to find him an apprentice. The aide tries a bite of rice noodles from a street stall. He instantly realizes that the vendor is not ordinary, so he gives Grace Paul's business card. Grace casually takes the card and continues cooking fried rice. But that night, Grace searches Paul online and discovers that he is the most famous cook in the country. Rich people from all over the world fly to taste his dishes. This excites Grace. She starts imagining herself becoming his apprentice. The following day, Grace follows the address on the card and arrives at Paul's restaurant. Yet another person also received the same business card, so Paul asks the two of them to compete. The winner will become his apprentice. Their task is to make egg fried rice. The competition begins. The opponent chooses a variety of ingredients and serves a portion of hot rice. Next, he melts butter and adds different ingredients, slowly heating them. At the same time, Grace takes leftover rice from the fridge. She chooses 2 eggs and starts cooking the fried rice in the street stall style. Soon, both dishes are finished at the same time. But after smelling Grace's fried rice, Paul instantly announces that Grace wins. The opponent refuses to accept it. Paul explains that the most important thing about making egg fried rice is using leftover rice from the previous night. Next, Paul asks Grace to practice her knife skills with expensive Wagyu beef. He requires every slice to be 0.5 millimeters thick, but Grace is too nervous and keeps failing. During the cooking process, Grace also cannot control the heat properly. The beef she makes is rejected by Paul again and again. Paul tells her that he doesn't keep useless people here. If she cannot cook well, she can go back to the street and continue making fried rice. Grace knows this is her chance to change her life. She never wants to return to the street and make hundreds of bowls of cheap fried rice. Grace practices alone in the kitchen all night. The next day, when Paul comes to check, Grace easily flips the beef in the pan for 2 seconds and instantly takes it out. This time, she eventually earns Paul's approval. Then Paul instantly gives her a chance to prove herself. He asks her to cook Wagyu beef at a general's banquet. Grace uses perfect skills to cook the Wagyu slices. Then Paul wraps raw meat within the Wagyu slices. He cuts them into beef rolls and adds a lace flour on top. A high-end dish called flesh and blood is completed. After the banquet, the general is extremely satisfied with the dish. He personally thanks Paul, but an investor turns his attention to Grace. He hands her his business card because he has already understood that the true chef of tonight is Grace.